Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down complex systems right from the source material. And today, we are tackling a big one, a system that claims it can turn romance into a science.
So let's dive right in. We're talking about the mystery method, which is, a pretty controversial system of social dynamics. The source material claims that romance isn't about luck, it's a skill you can learn. And this quote, it really gets to the heart of it. The goal isn't just success, it's a fundamental change in who you are. So what if romance wasn't this big mystery, but actually a system you could master? That's the provocative idea here. The whole point is to reframe attraction not as some kind of unpredictable magic, but as a system with rules, with techniques, and even its own unique language. The idea is to take the chaos and turn it into a manageable, even predictable game. All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. We'll kick things off with the core theory, then we'll decode its special language, walk through the actual playbook, look at the mindset you supposedly need, and finally, get to the ultimate goal of this whole transformation. Okay, let's get into it. First up, a science of attraction. This is the evolutionary premise. According to the source material, this entire method, it's all built on one single and, pretty controversial idea that's pulled from evolutionary psychology. So this core idea is called survival and replication value, or SNR value. The book basically argues that all human attraction, deep down, is just an unconscious calculation. It's saying our brains are constantly, quietly judging another person's genetic and social fitness, their SNR value. And honestly, this one concept is the engine that drives everything else in the system. Okay, Section 2, Decoding the Language of Value. So to even play the game, the method introduces this whole specialized vocabulary. The book itself describes it as a way to, and I'm quoting here, talk in English about invisible social signals, to basically name them, categorize them, and make them tangible so you can use them strategically. And this vocabulary, it's designed to codify like every single part of a social interaction. So telling a great story, that's not just a story anymore. It's a demonstration of higher value, a DHV. You're feeling nervous and fidgeting, that's a demonstration of lower value, a DLV. And it goes on. Every little signal gets categorized, from an indicator of interest, an IOI, to an indicator of disinterest, or IOD. And then there's the neg. This is maybe the most famous, and definitely the most controversial term from the method. It's defined not as an insult, which is a common misconception, but as this kind of playful, disqualifying comment. The whole point is to flip the script, to signal that you aren't trying to impress someone. The theory goes that this actually generates attraction because it poses a challenge. All right, so you have this language. How do you actually use it? Well, it becomes the building blocks for a really structured, step-by-step playbook for how you're supposed to interact with people. At the very heart of this playbook is what's called the M3 model. It's meant to map out the entire emotional journey of an interaction. It says every interaction has to move through 3 distinct phases, and always in this order. First, attraction, then connection, and finally, seduction. And the book is super clear on this one rule. You cannot build connection before attraction is fully established.
So, okay, how are you supposed to generate that initial attraction? The method says you need to flip these things called attraction switches. These are specific behaviors that are meant to demonstrate high SNR value. For example, pre-selection, the idea that being desired by other people makes you more desirable yourself. Or peacocking, which is literally wearing attention-grabbing clothes to signal social confidence.
And this all leads to a really critical distinction in the system. See, attraction is presented as a totally one-way street. It's all about you demonstrating your value. But connection, that's when you start building a two-way bond. The method kind of frames it like this. Attraction answers the question, is this person a high-value mate? While connection answers, okay, but will they commit that value to me? Now, this whole thing goes beyond just the external techniques and scripts. The method demands a very specific internal state of mind. It's not just about what you do, it's about how you are. The book calls this the Zen of cool. So this core mindset is explained as this balance of 2 energies. You've got the ghost, or the yin side, which is all about being internally unshakable, totally unreactive to what's going on around you. And then in contrast, you have the flame, the yang side, which is about proactively projecting this positive, fun energy that just draws people in. So, the key to really achieving this cool state, to embodying that ghost, is non-reactivity. The theory is pretty blunt about it. In any interaction, the person who is reacting more is the one telegraphing lower value. So by staying calm, centered, you project higher status. It's as simple as that.
So let's say you do all this. You master the language, you learn the models, you get the mindset down. Where does all this work actually lead? Well, the practice is designed to create a fundamental shift in your entire social reality.
The ultimate goal of the game is this massive transformation. It's about going from being a passive spectator, the person watching things happen at the party, to becoming the active subject at the center of attention. You stop watching the events, and you become the event. And, according to the method, one of the primary tools for making this happen is by consciously constructing your avatar. This isn't just your clothes. It's the total image you project through your style, your grooming, and of course, concepts like peacocking. You're essentially building a persona that's designed to draw attention, signal value, and ultimately make you the one that everyone else is observing. So, after breaking down this entire system, we're left with two things: a really powerful summary of what a promise is, and a lingering, pretty critical question. The promise of the method is, well, it's nothing short of transformative. The source material literally claims that by mastering this system, the language, the techniques, the mindsets, you will develop a set of social superpowers, the ability to navigate and influence pretty much any social situation at will. And that brings us to the ultimate question, doesn't it? What does it actually mean to try and codify something as human as connection into a system of inputs and outputs? Can human connection really be engineered? Does this approach truly empower people with skills they might be lacking? Or, in the process of turning romance into a game with rules, is something essential, something authentic, lost along the way? That's the final question that playing the game really leaves us with.